Nigeria at 65 is a story of resilience, resource and reform. From independence in 1960, when agriculture was the backbone of the economy, to the oil boom years that reshaped our national fortunes, the country has experienced repeated cycles of growth, shocks and adjustments. Today, the conversation around our economy is sharper than ever. Recent data from a GDP growth shows a GDP growth of 4.23% in Q2 2025, yet inflation remains stubbornly high at 20.12%, with food inflation at 21.88%. The central bank has kept interest rates elevated at 27% in its bid to fight inflation, even as reforms aim to stabilise the naira.
While debt pressures remain, poverty and inequality are still widespread, and questions linger about whether our economic structure truly reflects the potential of Africa's largest economy. With rebasing in 2025 and new sectors being captured in our GDP, Nigeria stands at another crossroad, balancing growth with real improvements in living standards. Today, we ask what lessons can we draw from our past and how do we chart a more sustainable path for the future. Not just that, the president also did in his speech talk about the growth and how the economy is indeed bouncing back. But don't take my words for it. We do have an economist, seasoned as it is, the CEO of AWABAH, Tunji Andrews, live in the studio with us. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great.
And happy post-independence.
Yeah.
I think my first question would be, what did you make of the numbers or the statistics that the president reeled out yesterday? Many of them.
Not great. I know that a lot of people see where we're coming from and see that this is a huge leap. But the honest truth is that it's pittance compared to what the growth story of Nigeria should be. We have 200 plus million people. We have an underperforming economy by far. And the truth about it is that economies are multipliers. So you can multiply problems and you can multiply good things. And we have multiplied problems for a very long time. We now need to multiply the good growth to be able to first clean the bad we've done in the last maybe 6, 7, 8 years, and then now start to grow. So we're still cleaning up all the mess we've had in the last, say, maybe eight or so years.
And whose fault is it? It's definitely not a failure of this administration. There's multiple failures that have come to a head.
Yeah. To be honest with you, as a collective, Nigeria's leadership has failed Nigeria. And this is all the way back from independence. Collectively, they have failed Nigeria. Nigeria has no business being in the situation it is. We're resource rich, we're people rich, geographically located in such a great place where we can connect with thriving economies in the world. But we are still underperforming. Look at India with what they've been able to do with the kind of people, the resources that they have at their disposal. Nigeria has just not been able to tap fully into the resource that we have. Unfortunately, the curse of oil has continued to plague us for so long. But to be honest with you, growing at 4.2% is good, but Nigeria needs to be growing at least 15% to be able to catch up with, the decay that we have created for so long.
And does it look like that 15% we need to grow by? Do we see the possibility of that happening in the nearest future?
What do we need to do to get there?
You don't mistakenly grow at 15%. You don't just wake up and do it. The country that, if you look historically, the one country that did it was China. And you can see clearly that it was not by mistake. They knew what they were doing from day one. They had a clear plan. And the growth happened for over a decade, 15% year on year. And you can see where China is today. As of today, I do not think Nigeria has a clear plan that from top to bottom, everybody can plug into to achieve. So the government talks about a $1 trillion economy. I don't think the people who put that math together totally understand the math of GDP growth. Because what it means is that from where we are to grow to 1 trillion, we have to be growing to at least double the size of the economy every 2 years. So 4.2 is not close to cutting it.
What are the fundamentals that need to be put in place for us to grow the economy to that level? Is it doable? What did China do?
So China did a few things, and it's heavy investment in China's capability to produce. Nigeria is not producing. Nigeria...
We're consuming.
No. Nigeria extracts oil and assumes it's producing. So today, I'm sure 95% of the things in this studio are made in China, if you get my point.
I get your point.
It's about production. Nigeria, think about one thing that we produce. Anything. Just think about one.
We've started refining oil.
I want to shock you, it's not even ours. Sorry to bust your bubble on that one.
It's not?
It's not. The ones you see,
fabric.
a few people do like maybe 6, 7, 10. The ones that mass produce do not come from here.
They come from outside the country, China. I saw someone do a direct in China.
It's hurtful,
and
right?
And he ships it back into Nigeria for sale. The Chinese,
That's the
apparently.
point. It's really frustrating to think about how Nigeria has not taken competitive advantage on anything. And this is what I believe the government needs to really focus on, productivity. And we need to just choose a few things. We can't win at everything, right?
Yeah.
We cannot win. But at this point, there are a few things that are working in our favor right now. Our exchange rate is not great, but it has made us competitive with the rest of the world. Which means if we start producing right now, we will be competitive on the global market. Europe knows this. Europe has introduced a new tax on value-added products coming in from Africa to them, right? Because they realize that if these guys start producing, our producers here cannot compete. So they've input a tax on goods coming from here into the EU zone. Now, Africa needs to understand that this is the point where economically we have the cheapest labor force, we have land, we have
Resources.
good resources.
Yeah.
Start producing now to start taking
Access
advantage
to raw
of it.
materials, yeah.
You get? So it does feel to me like, yes, this administration is now focused on revenue generation, but revenue generation is not the only thing. We now need to start producing on a high scale. And it's not just producing. I look at the South Korean example where South Korea as a government decided that we're going to pick a few players, make them so powerful that they will start being the drivers of our economy. Now we see cars from there. We see technology from South Korea. So it's those conversations, but I don't think we've started having
Our
that.
production, we have a long way to go. I was reading about how a lot of the designer brands, for example, will come here and get our leather, they'd export our leather, make it into designer products, and then it doesn't, of course, even say that it was, sourced from Nigeria.
At all.
And then they get the credit and we get nothing. So yes, production is an area we need to explore. But you talked about our currency being a good thing where we are right now. But I think a number of people have always wondered how we got here in the first place. In the past 65 years, there was a point where our currency was at par with the dollar. Right now, it's a huge distance, a huge barrier. The good thing is it's no longer bleeding, so there's some sort of stability. But how did we get here in the first place?
We stopped producing. Because the truth about it is that the only reason why your currency appreciates is that there's people trying to buy it, right? There's demand for your currency. Even in Nigeria, there's very little demand for Nigerian currency in Nigeria. Do you understand?
We have services that are priced in
dollars.
Yeah.
So the general context is if, for instance, let's say for lack of a better example, I started producing glasses and probably I was one of the top 5 producers of glasses in the entire world, right? What that means is that China, Europe, America will start coming into Nigeria to buy glasses. What it means that when they get to the borders of Nigeria, they will exchange whatever currency they have for naira to come and buy my glasses and then export it to their country. What that means is that at that point, there is demand on the naira from other people.
Yeah.
It starts to appreciate. Our reserves start to increase, and Nigeria, the government...
But the president talked about the progress in the reserves. That in a long time, Nigeria has never gotten this much.
So this is the problem with that statement. Compared to what? He's comparing it with the previous administration, which left a lot to be desired, right? And it's not like what this person has done is rocket science, right? It's not rocket science. If you have crude oil production at a steady rate, which we've had for the last 1-2 years, and you've been producing, your reserves will grow. It's not rocket science. But I mean, it's a pass mark. But honestly, it's not a thing.
It's a pass mark, but it's nothing to pat.
Exactly. No, really.
Now let's look at Nigeria being globally competitive.
Yes.
In your analysis, you mentioned certain things that are going well for us.
Yeah.
And I'll always say our geographic area is a God-given blessing. We're 7 hours from London, from Europe and the Middle East. Nigeria should be an aviation hub. I was just looking at some study, and it says domestic airlines, the reason why our tickets are very expensive is at least 45 to 50% goes to multiple tax, NAMA, FAA, and all of that. These are low-hanging fruits we could develop. You also mentioned the South Korea model. Hyundai, Heavy Industries, the cars, Samsung, that the government took a few players. Now we've had an individual, and what is did is earthquaking. It's never been done before. Single largest trade refinery in the world, Dangote. Looking at that South Korea model, if we could use it for Nigeria, what low-hanging fruits or what businesses would you suggest, the government should give it 100% support and let's kickstart this industrialization and production drive?
So the thing, and this is what I really need Nigerians to listen to, a lot of the times when we talk about export, the average Nigerian thinks, oh, I have Gary, let me export Gary, or there's cashew, those things are good. I'm not trying to be
share butter.
I'm not saying, but what you need to ask is, what does the world need right now? And globally, there's a high demand for fertilizer, and it's expensive. It's expensive to produce in Europe, it's expensive to produce in America, but there's a high demand for fertilizer. Aliko, who you just spoke about, it has set up the largest fertilizer plant in Ethiopia, because the Ethiopian government struck a deal with him to create a $2.5 billion refinery in Ethiopia. The EU is worried about that plant. We have fertilizer.
Why?
Because the European fertilizer plants will die if that plant works.
Just the way the
Dangote refinery is.
You get my point?
Yeah.
You get my point? So we need to look at what does the world need and what can we be competitive at. Aluminum is another thing. We can start, these are low-hanging fruits these are things we can scratch from. We don't need to do a lot of excavation. Exactly.
This is where Jakarta still needs to wake up.
Jakarta actually needs to be sold.
Aluminium smelting.
No, I said needs to wake up. Either it's sold.
Let's give it to somebody else.
Just do something.
But the thing is, I think where we need to be a top 5 player in one or two things. And they don't have to be the really beautiful ones. It could be fertilizer, it could be aluminum, it could be coal, whatever it is, we just need to be top 5. And these are things that are readily available to Nigeria, that doesn't need a lot of refining capacity to be able to produce. And we have them here.
In 2012, 2016, also in 2018, Nigeria was reckoned as the largest economy in Africa, but now we're the 4th, overtaken by the likes of Egypt and South Africa. Is there any hope that we'll get back to number 1, apart from these things? I mean, looking at the economic trajectory, do you think if we place these things you've mentioned, bordered on the fact that what is currently done by this administration will take us there? Like they'll say, take us to El Dorado.
It is possible, but if you've visited any of those countries recently, you realize that chaos has to happen there first. It's not just us growing; they have to also stop because they're growing at this. I was.
We catch up. Catch me if you can.
I was in South Africa recently, and I saw an abandoned gold mine, a diamond mine, abandoned diamond mine. Now the issue they have with the diamond mine is that it's not producing as much quality anymore, so they just abandoned it and moved to another one. Now, you need to understand how I felt, because I'm coming from a country that is resource rich, that we need to have mines like this. I'm talking, this is an extensive mine that goes deep into the ground, extensive network, but they're like, this thing's not producing as quality diamonds as we need.
Can you imagine?
So we moved on to the next one. And you know, so those countries will not regress. We need to now double our hustle. It's not bad to be third. It's not bad to be fourth. A lot of these countries you've also spoken about have connections to the Middle East, which makes it easy for them to attract capital. You know, they don't even regard themselves as Africa a lot of the times, you know, but so they have a lot of, you know, access to direct flow of capital, and a lot of the business in the world right now is happening in the Middle East. So we can't compete with that. But third or fourth, as long as we're growing, it's not bad, really. It's not bad.
All right. Anyway, it's been a fantastic conversation so far. Thank you so much, Tunji Andrews, for being here and helping us to dissect what we would
we really need to have him back.
Yeah, because we don't have enough time. But I wanted to squeeze in as quickly as possible the conversation about how when they're giving positive projections in the economy and the average Nigerian is saying it's not translating.
Yes.
And then we have people who say, give the government another quarter, say first quarter of 2026. First of all, why is it not translating? And do you believe that we will start to see results in first quarter?
So the truth about it is that GDP and economic analysis it goes bad and people are affected 3 months down the line. It goes good, people are affected 3 months down the line. I'm saying the people should not stop asking questions. You know, because if you stop asking questions now, maybe that 3 months time you start feeling it to go bad again, and then you start feeling another hurt. So just keep asking questions and keep piling pressure.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Tunji Andrews, for joining us. And you certainly don't look like it's not translating to you.